Weekly Zoom. Admit. There we go. Jump. Start video. Holy cow, that's a lot of people. 6 o'clock, baby.
What?
For Chris.
Okay,
They'll
cool.
meet us at the shed.
Okay, cool.
Love you. What am I doing? Everybody. Clint's connecting to audio. What's up? What's up?
What's up, Rob?
What's going on? Don't sing that song to me, man.
I don't think you want to hear me sing.
Don't do it. Dan had a story on his Instagram where it was some, I don't know what kind of song it was, but it was like windmill cookies, and now once you hear it, it's like an opera song, and like once you hear it, you can't really unhear it. So I only listen to it once. Because if you listen to it more than once, you're fucked. So
I gotta go find it now.
no, don't do it. Don't do it to everybody. I'm gonna mute you, man. Well,
Afternoon, everyone.
here. How's everybody doing tonight?
Very good.
How
Good
about yourself,
afternoon.
Rob?
Eddie, long time no talk, huh?
Absolutely.
Eddie called me when I was on my way home from work. We were chatting a little bit over there. Hey, buddy. Hey, buddy. Oh, you what? Yeah, you go. You gonna look out? What are you doing,
Hello, everybody.
Mr. Gunner? What are you doing? He wants to sit here. So I got this new fancy little thing here. So now I can adjust this around. Now he wants to. He's deciding. I opened the door for him. What? What are you doing?
It's cute.
He's hilarious. He is hilarious. He looks like a teddy bear, but he's also
He
very.
is so fluffy.
Oh, if you want, Dan put the message out. Be careful. Start listening to that shit. We're gonna be talking about questions. You're gonna be hearing whatever that stuff was. What, you want to go? Yeah.
You know what the trick is, Rob, for those earworms?
What's
Led
that?
Zeppelin Cashmere. You start listening to that, and it knocks out those songs.
Oh, all right. Frank's got the recipe. So now Gunnar walked outside, right? And now he's laying right next to the door. Why he does it, I don't know. I don't get it. Doesn't make sense. I see Mr. Jake jumping in, waiting for the wizard of the website. The wizard of the website is connecting to audio. Jim, that's what you got to call yourself, man. The website wizard. That's what we're going to make it so. That's what we're going to do. He doesn't know what's going on right now. And that's okay. Mark is jumping in. We'll give everybody 2 or 3 minutes. Looks like we still got people trickling in. So we shall continue. Clint had a very nice air action match over the weekend. All right, 7 a.m. in the morning, Clint.
Yeah.
Nice
Good
job.
morning here. Yeah, thank you.
We'll let you talk about that in a little bit here.
Yeah, sure.
I don't know if I want to look at this, Mr. Danny. I'm gonna click it anyway because I'm. Hold on, let's see if you guys can hear that. You guys know this song, right?
I think we have to just open it, Rob.
Gosh, man. Yes, that is bad. That is the stuff of nightmares. You're gonna hear that in the middle of the night. Windmill cookies.
Woke my girlfriend up to that. She's like, what the hell are you saying?
What are you doing, man? All right, so we got a good amount of people in here. One more minute, we'll get started. So I have my formats largely going to be the same in terms of how we did. We don't have any new people on here, so I don't think so. If anybody is new, raise their hand. The only person I don't really recognize is maybe Jake. Jake, yeah, no, Jake is new. That's right. There he is.
Hey guys.
Hello, Jake. This is like an AA meeting, right?
All right.
My name is Jake Young, and I am a shooting addict. Hello, Jake.
Yeah, State Farm. Mostly from State Farm, but
We'll give you a sec. We'll give you a minute here. Okay, well, we can get started. So, guys, thanks a lot for coming. As always, really appreciate everybody being here. Hope everybody is enjoying the content. Anything you want me to address within the content itself, feel free to put it in the chat. Outside of that, please share your wins for now. Anybody who wants, I'm going to give Clint a chance to speak because he had a very nice match over the weekend. Jake is going to get a chance to introduce himself because he is the new guy. So the new guy gets to say hello. Go ahead, Jake.
hey everyone. Glad to be here. My background, 21 years in law enforcement, and kind of just got into competitive shooting last year. Ben Conklin, who's in the group, he's not on here, but he kind of got me into it. We took a class with Rob last year, and it was very eye-opening. So really enjoying the content so far, and glad to be here.
Awesome, man. Yeah, and you've been sharing that out to a lot of your DCJS guys, right?
Oh yeah, yep.
That's awesome, man. Well, appreciate you being here. Appreciate everybody else being here. So let's start with Clint over here. Anybody else want to type their wins for the week? Now, listen, this could be anything, right? So it doesn't have to be this big thing, but I'd love to hear what you guys, what went well for you guys this week. I know Laura has had some good stuff when it comes to draw, recoil, control, all that stuff. I also know her hands are getting tired from training so much. So feel free to type that in the chat. As far as I'm going, so I've been having a bit of a, well, it is an ass problem, but so I've been having a glute problem, right? So I've been training a lot of movement the past couple months, especially since Anderson's class, and I literally started having a pain in my ass. So a pain in my glute that's been not getting any better. Over the past couple months, I've tried a couple different things, but I finally said, well, listen, it's not getting better. Let me try to reach out to some people. Reached out to a couple people, finally got an appointment made with a physical therapist near me, saw them yesterday, and now it's starting to feel better. So one of the things that I'm very, very big on, and I said this to Laura, and I'll say this to you guys too. I'm like you guys, I don't like to not train. So I don't like to reduce my training volume at all unless it's planned. So when it comes to physical things, make sure you're on top of what's going on. So make sure you're trying. If you have any pains or any aches, anything like that, you should be trying to find solutions to those. Typically speaking, it's usually some sort of an issue with a muscle imbalance or an overuse that the muscle isn't strong enough. So like shooter's elbow is a very, very common one. And that's why I wrote that article. There's the same thing with that. So I went through it the first time. I found the shooter's spinal flow yoga article on shooter's elbow that solved the problem for me. I actually read it before I ever had it. And then when I had it, I'm like, oh, this is it. So I was able to solve it then. But then when I trained in Eric's class and we did like 1,000 draws in the first 2 hours, it came back and it stayed. And it was the same thing. I had it for a couple months. I was trying the exercise, they weren't working. And I reached out to my buddy who was from my volleyball days, and I made an appointment with him, and we were able to figure out the thing that was missing. So a lot of times you'll probably find you're heading in the right direction. You may just not be doing enough of it. So in my case, we learned the main contributor was when you draw a gun, especially with how aggressively that we typically draw and the scoop slash pick where I'm coming up and I'm not really pushing down at all. At that elbow bend position, it's like apply metric action. So it's like bang, bang, bang. You're popping that tendon real hard. And that was what caused it. So we figured we added a couple of exercises in, and the main component was actually having the elbow bent when I'm doing the exercises. And that solved it. And it was interesting. So guys, when you're going through this, pay attention to things that seem to make it feel better that aren't really coincidence. So for instance, in my case, when I was doing external rotation is you put a dumbbell on your leg, right? And you basically let it go all the way down and back up. So that's for your shoulder complex, your shoulder girdle here. Let Jake in here. When that happens, whenever I do that exercise, I do 3 sets of 15, and I would notice the next day I'd feel better. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? I don't, it's better, but and it was routine enough to not be coincidence. So I mentioned it to him, and that's when we started to solve the problem. So for instance, with my glute problem, so it's a glute tendonitis, piriformis muscle, if you guys have ever heard it. My body's very tight just from, being naturally tight and injuries over the years. So when I would do squats, I put a band, I did some research and I put a band around my leg while I'm doing squats, and that seemed to not fix, but make it better. I had less pain throughout the day. So I mentioned it to this guy, and it was the same concept. It's that gives him an idea of what it might be, and that also is helping him to give me the right stuff to get that problem solved. So today, right, much better. I mean, I'd lay in bed, laying on my back. I'd wake up and I could barely move my leg. Like, it took me a couple minutes to get it moving. So just so you guys know, like get things looked at, try to solve the problem, and then as soon as you can, get to like a doctor or physical therapist or something, because the earlier you take care of it, the quicker you can get back without having to reduce training. If you let it go too long and it becomes a real big problem, then you're talking about taking time off when you don't necessarily want to. Does that make sense? So that for me is a win, even though, I went on a long tangent on it. So, but I hope that helps you guys in the future. Let's see here. Oh, look at this. This little AI generated summary. That's very cool. Oh, that was actually from before. Oh, this is a continued chat. That's pretty cool. Awesome. Okay, so if you want to hear it, do not click that link. Don't click Dan's link. He's got a grin on his face right now. Okay, Dan. Well, Dan did write something here. Concentration grid 5x5 down to 11 seconds. How many guys you tried that? How many of you guys tried that? The concentration grids. What do you guys think of it? So Dan, you could tell me first because you and Laura both raised your hand. If anybody else tried the concentration grids, you absolutely should try it because I find a huge amount of awareness. I'm going to put it back in here so you guys can take a look. And you guys will see this in, I believe, week 5, because it's all about improving your ability to process information. Go ahead, Danny. Talk about your experience and trying to race your grid. Did she win?
So well, first off, I thought 11-second was crazy. I sent it to you and you sent me a video, what, 5-second or 4-second?
Yeah.
I was like, this is nuts. So my girlfriend and I have been like competing against each other. Let's just say she's smoking me. She got down to 7-second. I don't know how you guys are doing that.
Wow.
Yeah, and she doesn't shoot. So I was like, maybe I should get her shooting more.
It might be good for her, quite honestly. It might be.
Yeah, I hate playing word games with her because like she finds all these crazy words super fast. And I'm like, all right, never doing this again.
Just so you know, I'll put this out there since you're talking about your girlfriend. I know Laura's here too. EAA is looking for a female shooter. Just saying. There's an opportunity there, and they're really looking. So,
Will they take D-class shooter?
well, we got to get good first. But listen, if she's doing 7 seconds in a week and a half, I might bet she might be able to get classed up pretty fast.
All right, I'll let her know.
When she has you as a boyfriend, and we have the 8-week accelerator to share with them too, you guys. So, That's awesome, man. Listen, keep working it down. Like I said, I've been doing it over a year now. I had a student share it with me who was a baseball player in college, and that's where I got that from. And I started and I became obsessed. So every time I'm sitting there waiting, so plastic injection molding, I'm waiting for parts to come out, 30 to 60 seconds, sometimes longer, and I'm sitting there just playing that as many times as I can get it in. Right. And then it just becomes a self-fulfilling thing. I do have the fastest time on the 6x6 and the 8x8 on the leaderboard. So I think on the 5x5 I got down to 11th or 12th, which said the fastest time for that is 4.8. It is
That's
insane.
crazy.
Anyway,
That's crazy.
awesome, guys. Well, you guys keep playing around with that, and we will continue on here. So Laura, right? Raw draw, 20 yards with alphas in live fire, 1.24 in the walk back draw. Laura, why don't you share your experience with that?
Yeah, it was we started, of course, I think at 5 yards with the predictive and going back, and Dev was timing me, and the funny part was I was actually getting faster as I went back. So
Good.
Yeah, it was I felt like I surprised myself, and then looked at the target. I was pretty confident I was there in the alphas, and yeah, sure enough, right? They were right there in the alphas. I think I maybe had a Charlie or whatever, but yeah, majority were right there. And so I was 1.24 to 1.3.
Great.
Yeah, I surprised myself. So that was super cool.
What did you find was helping you be successful in that moment? Because we're going on to when you do something right, and guys, this is for all you guys, when you do something right, figure out why it went right, because that's going to make it happen more often in the future. And that's a Steve Anderson thing for when he comes in.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so we were doing, I think it was just after I had posted the drill, and like you had shared about getting the handover quicker. So we were actually, Dev was videoing me slow-mo because we were trying to figure out, we just, something was off, something wasn't quick enough over. So getting that hand over quick. And then even that word raw, as I came back, I don't know, that was just like about speed, that I could like get it up and drive it up, hence why all the bruising and everything else happening. And then just being able to like have enough time to like do a little settle confirmation and hit where I needed to. So it was a huge part of that raw speed that in my mind made me feel so fast, and I could get the gun up quickly.
Well, it gave you, well, for one, let's also acknowledge the real supporters too, right? Dev was there, awesome husband, right? Great coach, great encourager, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So that is important as well. But yeah, so that raw speed, like I tell you that something that I've learned over time, when you feel comfortable and know that you're going to be fast enough, right? When you're focusing on the right stuff, that is hugely powerful.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's where we came up with the decelerate one step earlier for entries. Because it's just knowing that you're going to be fast enough, and that bounce is yeah, you got that bounce, but that bounce happens at a time where it doesn't matter. And now you're confirming anyway, so you've given yourself that extra 3/5 of a second, and that's huge.
For sure. And that whole session, like I felt like my draw was on, like it was, we kind of talked about it before, and that overthinking, or just, I don't know, I was just in my head too much. So as soon as, kind of dropped that and just went into the draw that was comfortable, everything came together. And like, I think I had maybe one like ick draw, but the rest were solid for the whole session, which I was like, damn, I have not had that forever. So that felt good.
How many draws do you think you did that session?
Oh, we were there for almost 2.5, 3 hours. So
100.
yeah. Yeah,
So,
hence why that, like, yeah, we got a bit addicted to it, right? It was hard to stop. So
that's great.
Yeah.
Well, listen, when something is going really well, keep driving it home, right?
yeah, totally.
So in your session, you had 99.9% great draws.
That's what it felt like. I mean, it might have been a little less, but yeah, it felt on, which again was kind of a great feeling.
You're still 99%.
99, yes. Yeah,
I'll take that.
Positive.
I'll take those odds all the time.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, and that's the goal, right? Is that I feel like I could go do a match right now. Like I want to go do a match right now, and I know that my draw will be on, which kind of is an awesome feeling, because again, that hasn't been there for a lot. So I love it.
Awesome. Well, I'm looking forward to you continuing to crush that and just continue to develop it. Next thing you do, next thing you know, you're getting a 1.24 with a step. Right? That's the next.
Yes.
I posted that Instagram video today. That was a 20-yard mini popper, and the draw was like a 120 with a step and a vision barrier. So that's you'll be doing that. You'll be doing that in no time, guarantee it. Keep it up. Nice job. All right, I see Mr. Well, I see Scott here saying it's become a huge household competition. That's awesome, right? Make it fun. Have more people involved. The better, the more challenging it is, right? Clint, I'd like you to be able to share your success over the weekend in your match, if you don't mind.
Yeah. I had this level 3 match, action air match last weekend. It was a world shoot qualifier. But the day before that, I was asking Rob about the shuffle step, or a quick burst step, because stages in airsoft are scaled down versions of the real one. So short burst movement are really usable, because mostly in action air there's five, 6 sectors. And those last match, there were a lot of movers. I think there were 10 for 12 stages. There were 10 movers, or 10 moving targets. It was it was really challenging. And the night before that, I was practicing the video that you sent me. I was practicing it for 3 to 4 hours. And I was asking my wife if I'm doing good. We're at the hotel. I'm doing that shuffle step for 3 to 4 hours. Hey, am I doing good? And he's giving me instant feedback about it. And good thing it really helped me during the match. I shot 2 divisions, rifle and handgun. In classic, I ended up in second. I'm really fucked up because the stages were already closing when I shot my second division.
Okay.
And I thought I finished it, but when I left the range, I forgot to shot one stage.
Yeah, I remember you saying that.
Yeah, and it was a long course, the one that I left.
Mhm.
But when I saw the scores, I was in second, 83%.
Great. Great.
And the and I was praying that the third one, the one that in third place, I was thinking he should fucked up because I fucked up I thought I fucked up some stages. And he ended up at I believe high 60s or low 70s. So I was
Okay.
thinking, hey, I did well.
No, you did, man. That's great. And I know your wife was sitting on the sidelines with a little voodoo doll, right? Poking the third place guy, right?
Yeah,
Definitely.
yeah,
That's what I would ask Janine to do. Hey,
yeah,
just real quick, you know.
yeah.
Hey, good job, man. And I'm glad that the short movement stuff worked well for you guys. You know,
Yeah, it did. It did big time.
it's also why I have a pain in my ass. I mean, that's but that's also from many years of beating my body up. But yeah, no, it's going away, so we're good. But yeah, no, that short position movement stuff, I mean, I've found that to be one of the most useful things that I'm doing in terms of movement. That and the treadmill dry fire, which you guys will see in I want to say it's week 7. I think the website wizard will know better than I will, but I think it's week 7. So see, double bill drill has been super addictive in dry fire, trying to drive the par time down. Dev is at 3.4. So that's amazing. That's fantastic. At 4 seconds is still no slouch. And so a question, how do you guys looking when it comes to your, how your sights look, how your dot looks? Is it tracking nice and like stable for the most part?
He said yes at
Yes.
3-4. I'm still at the 4, and mine is good.
Awesome. Did you ever see the live fire to dry fire correlation video I did? I'm not sure.
I don't think so.
Let me see if I have it here. I'll see it. I'll share my screen. Because I was working at the same kind of range, 3.4. I'm just going to pull this up here, and then I will share. Let's see, content, shorts. I think it's a short. Hopefully it's not too loud. Here we go. So we'll pull this up. Yes. Okay. So You guys will see this here. You probably have seen it before. Share screen. Here we go. You guys should be able to see this in a second here. Right? So you'll see this. And that's a similar kind of part time. And then it's the same thing here. To give you guys hope, I 100% expect Dev to have a 3.3 in live fire now. Right, it was like, I think it was 331 or something like that. And I didn't really do a very good job of getting the targets here, but you could see kind of where we're at. It was a very, very nice.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, so you guys will get a chance. You guys will definitely have that. Or
What kind of splits did you have with that? Do you
I
know?
want to say the splits were 16 to 16s to 18s. The
Yeah,
draw was around an 85, and this is kind of just going off memory, and the reload is probably around a 95 or so.
yeah,
So, but if you could do it, if you could do it in dry fire, you have the potential to do it in live fire. It's just making sure that you follow the same process that gets you that dot nice and stable for those trigger presses.
yeah. And I'm having the challenges with like the other day, like I've usually struggled with the splits. And I know that like that splits aren't the top priority. I totally get that.
Oh,
I mean, so sometimes I'm sitting right at the 0.2 to 0.3. So we did work on some of those the last session of just trying to squeeze the pinky and go. And when I take the target away, right, and just do into the backstop kind of,
yeah,
I actually got down to 0.17.
great.
And then I went back over to the target though. And like I had trigger freeze, back to 0.20. So yeah, it's something I need to work on.
So here's what you're gonna do, or here's what I'd suggest you do. Right, you can do a couple runs as you are to see where you're at, right? If you can commit after that to making the time happen, making the splits happen, don't worry about what the target looks like first. Right? Get the time and the speed to be comfortable. And when the time and the speed is comfortable, now start to solve for the hits, because then you'll naturally have that pace pick up. Right? Also, make the target. So that's one thing. You can commit to, hey, I'm going to do this no matter how it goes, and I'm going to focus on trigger speed. The other thing is you can also make the target as easy as necessary to allow you to do that. Right? While still having a target. Right? You were doing it into the berm, and that's clearly working for you. Make the target easy enough that you can do that anyway. Those are two methods that, if I were going through the same thing, those are the two things I would do. And it depends on you. If you can allow yourself to just let go, right? Let go and let God, as they say, right? Thank you, Jesus. So as long as you could do that, that's the one I would try to do first. But if not, like making the target really easy and then stepping it out, that should be able to accomplish the same kind of thing.
Okay, it makes sense.
Awesome.
A lot of mind traps here, hey? Like to get out of your own way, people say to me all the time, like, stop thinking, Laura, too much.
Well, it's just so it's the, it's I would call myself Engineer Rob and Predator Rob. Like those are the two like fighting personas, right? Engineer Rob wants to double and triple check everything all the time. Hey, we got to make sure everything's right. We got to double, triple check, because in engineering, right, you don't build the bridge right, that bridge falls down, and that's not good. So, but that's good for us in the planning phase. The engineer knows the data, knows what the what you're capable of at what distances. It knows how to analyze the data and train properly and create the bridge that you're looking for. So the bridge is like let's say the performance from training, your correlation from training to match. Okay. But the downside is double and triple checking in the middle of shooting performance is a hindrance. Okay. So in that moment, the engineer has to do all the pre-planning, has the data, runs things according to, sets the program. And then I had what I call Predator Rob. Okay. engineer and the predator. The predator it's just a savage, like just wants to wreck shit, like just destroy everything. Like it's a killer, like that's what it is. Okay, it's got all the subconscious skill you can possibly want. It can do anything that you want it to do. The thing is, those two don't mix very well. And if you let one or the other control the entirety of it, you're going to have a problem. Okay, so that's so that's where I originally came up with the program and execute method, which you guys will see in, I believe it's week 5. The engineer sets the data and sets the program. It tells, okay, this is what we're going to do, and it pre-agrees to the terms, kind of like Steve Anderson talking about surrendering to something, whatever it is. Okay, and then the engineer's job is to get the fuck out of the way and let the predator do what it knows how to do. The only thing the engineer has to do is just monitor that everything's going okay. It's not allowed to step in. He's not allowed to step in until there's something that needs to be addressed, AKA, a makeup shot, just calling shots. That's the job. Fast vision, react to good called shots. That's it. Right? Every time he tries to get involved otherwise, it causes potential issues because now they're fighting. And when they're fighting, you get dragged down. And if the predator only wins and there's really no like, hey, there's no planning at all, right? You just go ape shit and you typically have speed induced errors. Okay. It's good.
Yeah, good analogy. Totally.
Yeah, it's one I've always, that's the way I've kind of come up with this too, because my mind is very analytical, very detail oriented, but my body is very fast at what I can do. Right. So it's finding that balance that gets you the ideal performance. And you'll always be working through what gets you that. And once you figure it out, write it down, commit to it. And like we said, like you can't trust the sense of speed. You're just committing to it and you're going to agree to it and you're going to go. The results are what they are. You can adjust your process through training. Right. So awesome. Glad we had that conversation. That's a great one. That was a big eye opener for me, honestly. Okay,
Sure.
Mr. Clint over here. Guys, if you want to type in any questions too in the meantime, feel free. If you want to raise your hand, I can prompt you and allow you to, I'm not a king or anything, but you could talk so that we can answer the questions for everybody. Clint over here, drive for me, double bill drill is 3 seconds. You are a savage. 0.6 second draw. Hey Clint, what issues are you having in the reload?
Actually, for the reload, I'm blaming my 1911 pouches. They're too deep.
Okay.
If I change to the magnetic pouches, I can do 0.57, 0.55.
Wow.
So with the double alpha deep pouches, it's 0.67, 0.70, something like that.
That's a huge difference.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
really not.
So no matter how I push it, I cannot push the time down. I mean,
Well,
picking up the mag is slower compared to the magnetic ones.
well, then it might be a something where you consider the magnetic pouches if you could do it. Right?
Yeah. I'm
So that-
planning to change the first 2 or 3 mags with the magnetic pouch.
Yep. So interestingly enough, like that's what I do. So and Henning was the one that recommended this to me, is I do 2 of the magnetic pouches, and then and this is just a loading or stowing pouch, stowing magnet. And then I do 1 Kydex pouch here, which I've changed over to TXC holsters for this one here. So that's the way he recommends it too. And this is like an emergency mag pouch here, but having that kind of set up, that'll get you what you're looking for while still giving you the retention that you need, just in case something ever falls off. I haven't had anything fall off. These are 2011 pouches, and I don't use 2011 mags on it, right? So it's still got a good amount of play in it, and this works just fine. I haven't dropped these in a match yet. So that's something to consider for you. Maybe two of those, especially for your stand-in shoots where the reload is really important, right?
Yeah.
If you need to do it. And then you have the other pouches, because that 0.1, that 0.1, 1500, honestly, in a stage, not really going to matter. In the stand shoot was where you want it, which your 1 and 2 pouch would probably be the most valuable, in my opinion.
Agree.
Does that make sense?
But in
Go
yeah,
ahead.
but in Viper, if I get really excited sometimes, I send mags flying everywhere with the magnetic pouch.
That's all of us. You know, like reloads are never 100%, right? So the idea is that you get them as close to 100% and have as few of those as possible.
Yeah.
So that's where I came up with the confirm or adjust, like the mag is going in, and you guys, if you got to the reload stuff, you'll hear me talk about this. 2 questions: is the mag going in? Yes. If it's yes, put the mag in the gun. Don't wait. If you bump or it's not going in, just adjust it. Confirm it, put it in, or adjust it, put it in. Make it simple, right? And then
Yeah.
the more control you have, the less likely you'll throw the mag across the room, right?
Yeah.
That makes
But
sense?
yeah, but when you're doing the reload, because when I do the rubber band technique, I mostly slam my hand to the magazine, and I always hurt my hand.
Well, so you're slapping your hand into the magazine pretty hard, right? And it's coming up. Honestly, I mean, I do that too. I hit the mag pretty hard. But over time, I've just learned, you kind of learn how to be a little bit more delicate with these, like how precise you are. Right now, you're probably just slamming into it.
Yeah.
That's what's happening now. But as you become more familiar with the speed and it becomes more normal, what's going to happen is you're going to start to become much more precise with your movements and your motions. Okay, so for instance, when I first was practicing 4 aces at 1.8 in dry fire, I have a video I posted way back. I don't think it's up anymore, but because I archived it. But I looked at that video and I was tense as fuck. I was so incredibly tense trying to do this. And then it was like a year or so later that I did it, like I posted another video at 1.8 seconds with the same thing. And I looked so relaxed. Like you couldn't, like the 2 shooters were entirely different. That's when you could tell, oh, NFA fingers coming in here. That's when you could tell that you're really starting to get mastery over the thing that you're doing. Right now, you're pushing real hard, and that's not that it has to happen. You have to be tense, you have to be uncomfortable, you have to solve the problems. But 6 months from now, you will look like a different person doing the same thing. And it's going to be really cool to see that. You know, I'm excited to see Clint. Well, Clint is the perfect name, quite honestly, for someone who's very fast at handling a gun. Just because we have Dirty Harry and Clint Eastwood, and you know, get off my lawn, right?
I blame my father for that.
That's a good name, man. You should thank him. Maybe not blame him.
Yeah.
So we got Laura
Thanks,
here.
Rob.
No, thank you, man. Change the angle of my mag passing plant, rubber band concept, mag change has been smooth. It is so interesting. And I've even come back to it recently. So when I'm doing a lot of speed work, so at the end of my session, I'll take 5 minutes and I'll just set up some sort of transition array with a reload. And I've noticed just doing this, just really focus on the same thing, just being as fast as I physically can to the mag well, and actually trying to see the mag stop there. Like it is crazy, you know. It is crazy what you're capable of. And a lot of you guys, you watch my stuff and it looks like I'm just throwing the mag in the gun entirely. But in a lot of cases, like when I watch the dry fire video back, it looks that way. But I remember exactly, like it feels like I literally stopped the mag in the mag well. So So that's just continuing to grow your awareness, grow your ability, and focus on the hand speed part that gets you a lot of that reload speed for free. Right? Same thing. NFA Finger Jeff, he is in the house. Right? Okay, so if nobody has any other questions, you guys are obviously welcome to type in the chat. If anybody doesn't have questions, I'm going to read over a couple topics here that we can then kind of make a decision on. Okay. So you guys will like this. I think you'll like this. Well, I'll pick a couple and then we can kind of choose. And you guys could type this in the chat if you which one you like. So one of them might be metronome transitions without a trigger press. Okay, that might be one. Another one might be gap, then solve to get faster quicker. Let's see what other ones here. Okay. And then the third one might be part-time, just out of current reach to add pressure to perform to your ability. Okay, I could talk about all three of these. Anybody have a preference on what they would like? Actually, I had a fourth one in here just in case. Respond to the last thing with the next thing quicker for better times overall. What do you guys think here? Yes on all. Yes, okay. That's it. That's a way to do it. Right? Anybody have a preference on what they'd like to speak, what I'd like to speak, what they would like me to speak on first?
What about the metronome? That is intriguing to me.
Okay. Have you heard about the metronome? Any of you guys have heard a lot of, I learned this and I introduced this in a group Zoom last session. Okay. So Mr. Ryan there will know. I see Ryan was floating around here if he's still on there. Ryan knows all about the metronome. Right? Ryan, you still doing the metronome?
Yeah, still doing the metronome. That was gonna be one of my wins for this week. I got it up to 290 beats per minute, and it's feeling comfortable now. Like my eyes are just moving all over the place pretty quickly, and gathering that information. And just like we talked about, is just trying to focus on where the dot is while I'm pressing the trigger and be real precise with it. But it's really helping my visual speed, and yeah, I like it a lot.
It's amazing once you get comfortable with it. And I'll talk about it in a minute here. And then I got the next thing for you, which you're going to really find very cool. So metronome transitions, guys. Do you guys all know what a metronome is? Anybody that doesn't? Okay, Eddie's shaking his head no. Okay, so a metronome is a musical timing device. I don't know that you'll be able to hear it on here, but I'm going to play this. Oh, it's playing in my Bluetooth headphone, actually. Okay. Let me turn that off for a second here. Okay. Can you guys hear this? Anybody hear it?
No.
Okay. Well, I don't know why it does that sometimes. Anyway, so this is it. Here we go. Metronome. Right, so you can download this on your on any sort of app. You type in metronome, and I'll write this here. Yeah. Yeah, I use 310 also, by the way, Clint. So this is a timing device, and what it does is it gives you a noise, like a click or you know, it could be a drum. Different things sound different. Every beat at a specific beats per minute. Okay. Right. So if it was you know, this is so if you guys can hear this. Yeah. You hear how fast that is? Right? The way I'm saying it, that's 310 beats per minute. Okay. So the idea is you set a timer to do this. 3 to 5 minutes is usually very, very good, and it's very tiring. You set an array of targets that you want to work with, and you get the gun on target, or you draw out, and you use a timer for about, let's say, 10 seconds at a time. And you just transition through the array, pressing the trigger at a predisposed interval in accordance with that. So you start at 240 beats per minute, and then you go through your array over and over again for the 10 seconds that you have set for your part time. What that does, your Jake said he was the metronome test dummy. I did that with him in Texas. So what that does is that sets your trigger press at a certain interval. You're not allowed to change that. Now you have to figure out how to get the gun from target to target, your vision from target to target, faster within that time frame. 240 is a good start because that's a quarter second per shot, and then go up as you get more comfortable. Targets closer together are easier. Further apart is harder, and partials are harder. Dan, I see Dan trying to listen to a metronome map right now. Right. But I do this for about 6 to 10 minutes a day at this point, depending on the day. So I'll do 2 iterations of it, one 3 to 5 minutes, another 3 to 5 minutes. And I found this to be highly useful. Now, the thing that I've added to this, so normally I'm pressing the trigger. So it's just pressing the trigger at a set interval and trying to get the gun from target to target around that. Now I've added another step where in the beginning, I start with 2 targets reasonably close together, and I try to go as fast as I can according to the beat back and forth between the targets. In the beginning, I didn't see shit. I barely saw anything. But as I've continued to do this over the past, let's say 2 weeks, I'm now able to call where the dot stopped on each target at that pace. So what I think is happening, what's happening, at least what I'm learning, is that is going to have a tremendous impact on how fast I can transition the gun from target to target and actually be able to call the shots that are happening on those targets. So I know Ryan's probably smiling right now, but Ryan, I'd like you to try that. So do like a minute of without the trigger going back and forth between 2 and 3 targets. So I do it with 3. Three's tough. So if you have like an El Presidente setup and you just go back and forth, it is incredibly physically demanding, and it's also very visually demanding. Yep, Ryan's probably doing it right now, knowing Ryan. Ryan's a little crazy like most of us. So, but give that a try, and you will find. And what I'll do is I'll take a video, I'll share it with people eventually when I start rolling these out. But I think, honestly, I think that is the next thing. Okay, double or 1 transition per beat. Yes. Okay, so let me answer Dan's question first, Mr. Han Solo over there. So what do you mean by double or 1? Is it just you're talking about 2 transitions in 1 beat, or you're talking about 2 trigger presses in 1 beat?
So is it like every beat you're doing 1 and you're still on the same target, 1, 2, then transition 1, 2, transition 1, you're doing 1, 1, 1.
So when I'm pressing the trigger, it's always dependent on the target. Paper gets 2, steel gets 1.
Okay.
You add steel into this in an odd number of steel, it took me a couple weeks to get used to that.
Yeah, you recommended I put steel for my entry and exit. I put steel everywhere, so that's gonna be challenging.
So I would advise you to try it because it's gonna fuck you up in the beginning. And that's the whole point. The whole point is in the beginning, I couldn't do steel at all. And then after doing it for a little bit, I can do an even number of steel. So I'm getting 2 trigger. So if I put 2 steel next to each other, I could do 2 steel because it's 2 trigger presses. And now I'm at the point where I can do any number of steel that I want. And now in the beginning, I couldn't put music on and do it. Now I can have music playing and actually pay attention to the metronome. So it's continuously evolving. And now I added in this other part that I'm talking about now, where I don't even press the trigger and I'm just trying to get back and forth as fast as I can. You guys are going to hate me probably for a little bit while you try to do this.
I just heard the 240 and I'm like, okay.
That's too. I'm doing 310.
Yeah,
Clint was. I think I don't know why I told Clint to do 320, but 310 is what I'm doing. And honestly, I find that to be because that's about 0.2. Let me see what this is. So 60 divided by 310. It's about 1900ths per trigger press. And adding the transition in there. I see Danny trying to do it already. You guys are going to be doing this after we're done. I guarantee it. So
Is there an app for that, Rob?
say again?
Is there an app for that?
So just type in metronome into the Play Store or Apple. What is it? What is it? Is it iTunes? I'm not an Apple guy, unfortunately. Well,
Alpha.
I don't love Apple, but
Yeah.
App
Apple
Store.
App Store. There we go. Cool. Yeah. So type in metronome, and there are plenty of free ones to use. I am personally using. I think it's called Metronome Beats. Metronome Beats is the name of it. Let me just type this in. Metronome Beats. You can type that in. That should give you the information that you need. 240 Matt. 240 is a good starting point. Obviously, if you need to lower it down, that's totally cool too. The goal is to get faster and faster, because as you'll know when it's comfortable, because you'll feel that you can do pretty much anything you want to pretty comfortably. And then you could either make the targets further apart and harder, or raise the beats per minute. So I found 310 to be like a good, like a sticking point for a little while. But once I'm really comfortable with it, and I'm almost at that point, I'm going to start upping it again. But I found that adding in just the back and forth really, really is challenging. And that's added another layer to it that'll allow me to stay there. Anybody got any other questions on that? Right? I'm going to take a little picture. This is cool. It's always cool to see so many people on here. 20 people tonight. Very, very cool. I'm actually going to up this, make it even bigger. You guys are all awesome. So, what did I have next here? Next, let me just pull this back up. Okay. So, I like this, and I've been learning this too. So it's called gap, then solve to get faster, quicker. So I've been noticing, you guys ever bump heads against the part-time? Right, you bump your head up against the part over and over and over again. I've been finding that what seems to help me get past it is to move the part-time up and create a gap in it, and then start to drive that time back down. And I've noticed this more so in stage training than other stuff. But in stage training, what I'll do is I'll always kind of estimate a time, and I'll be around there. If I'm having a hard time beating the part-time that I'm working with, I'll raise it up a little bit, and I'll then create that gap. So what that gap really is, in my opinion, is you've created a win for yourself. And once you start creating that win for yourself, oh, cool. Well, that's good, Jake. I didn't even know if Billy talked about it also. I like that. So once you create that win for yourself, at that point, now you start to gain momentum. And what I'll find is that part-time, okay, yes, I added a little bit to it, and I created a gap, and now I just start over and over and over again. I'm ahead of it. And I just drive way down past that original part-time I was using. It's enough. It was enough of a noticeable thing that I wanted to make sure I talked about it here. And you guys have questions on that or comments or anything? You could always raise your hand if you need something, or you have a question. You can type it in the chat. Either one is totally cool. All right. But yeah, try that out and see what you think about that. I found that very, very useful. Okay. Now, on that same token, the opposite. Part-time just out of reach. To add pressure. How many guys get that part-time that's just you know you're starting to get I'm starting to get a little fast. This is getting my perceived limit, right? What I like about that kind of part-time is that it gives you the opportunity. It puts pressure on you because you want to be able to perform, but you also have to be able to do things consistently. So I find that just out of reach part-time is enough to put some pressure on you to perform, but you also have to be able to be disciplined enough to do what you know how to do. For one, to even achieve or pass that, but two, as a result. It's like you seeing someone do something extremely fast and you try to keep up with them. How does that usually work out? That's you not playing your game, you're playing their game. Right? So you got to be able to play your game. So I played around with this too, and it's the two of those work very nicely depending on what your intention is. Okay. As a side note too, I've I've actually visualized in training different scenarios, and you'd find this probably useful too. I've envisioned scenarios where people were talking shit about me. Like people were saying he sucks, he's not gonna do this, blah, 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 whatever, right? And then I still have to be able to do what I'm intending to do. So I have to be able to silence the naysayers. And by the way, every time I finish, I said, fuck you, right? That's what I would do. It's just, that was just my response, like, go fuck yourself, mind, or whatever. So, so I would think that, right? That's one. I would also like hype myself up. Dude, this guy's the best at this thing. Like he's gonna do awesome and he's gonna crush it. Right. And interestingly enough, I had more of an issue with the hype man than I did the shit talker, which was very, very interesting. But I'd envision, hey, people, like someone put me on Instagram Live. Right. Just like, and this is how I was talking about this, how I don't really take video of myself in the matches because the initiation of the video for me is distracting. But I visualize myself with people taking video of me all the time. And I got to the point where I didn't give a shit about that anymore. Right. So playing around with that, you know, I also had I would basically kind of talk to the the crowd, like this is not weird. I'm not weird. This is I don't have imaginary friends, but I'd pretend there's a crowd watching and I'd say, hey guys, take out your phones. You're going to want to see this kind of thing. All these little situations that you can put yourself in and try to put yourself there mentally. It allows you to kind of prepare for ever being in that situation for real. And I've had it where people put me on lives and stuff like that in the middle of a match. And it's like they're talking and commenting, and I'm like, and it's become no big deal because I'm used to it. Because I've practiced that. So that's something to think about, like visualizing situations that might make you uncomfortable and how you'd handle it. And then actually putting yourself in the moment to perform. That has tremendous power. That was a side note, but I think that's valuable. All the time, Laura. All the time. I had my third day with Steve on Monday because we had last week we had the Zoom on day 3. Okay. So we'll talk. Anybody have any questions about that? Yes, no, maybe. Comments? Okay. Last thing. Respond to the last thing with the next thing quicker. It's a very simple concept, but again, anytime I notice something that's pretty relevant, I write it down for myself for one, but I also write it down as something to talk about here. So one of the things I've been focusing on in training that I find that it's giving me the best results by far in terms of shooting sooner and being faster in general is all I tell myself is I want to react to the last thing I did. In this case, it's a good called shot or whatever, with initiating the next action more immediately. And that's it. Like there are a lot of times where I'm trying to chase a par time and I'm trying to just like be faster. And that doesn't work. It actually ends up being slower in a lot of cases. So all I tell myself is just observe and react faster to the last thing that happened. Even to the point where I have it written, like my focus is observe the tiny dot in the center of the brown, react to a good call shot. That's it. And that is what is getting me the best times. Like I'll do a run in dry fire, or even in live fire, and I'll be whatever, and then I'll just focus in this with this kind of intention, and my times are half second faster. It's a significant, and I'm not shooting fast per se, right? So when I did some of the movement drills that I posted, or the movement drills you'll see, I was shooting maybe 25 to 30, 33 splits on a 10 to 12 yard target. But my times were half a second to 3/4 of a second faster through a movement section. Whereas when I tried to split the gun hard, it was hindering progress. So that's an interesting thing. Think about that. React faster, respond faster to initiate the next action quicker. In your training, in everything, you might find that it's really impressive what you start to see. So that's what we got for tonight. Does anybody have anything before we go? questions, comments? You want to type something in the chat?
Rob, Laura here.
Yep.
Do you have a video on the transition piece, or was that to come? Like, sorry, with the metronome
So,
specifically?
so the metronome, what I'll do is I'll take a video for you guys at some point. That's one of the, so as we get warmer, have more light, we're gonna take some new content videos to put into the classroom. Okay, and this is gonna go on for as long as we run this program, right? Every spring, summer, we're gonna take whatever extra content, new content that we think, we're gonna go new first, and then we're gonna update older stuff with better quality. Okay, that is one of the things on my short list to add into it. But I can take a video. Remind me tomorrow morning. I'll take a video for you guys so that you can kind of see it. Okay, I might even have,
That'd be great.
one or two on my phone, so I'll be able to kind of send it to you so you can hear it, and I'll post it on the community if I find it.
There's also, if you search metronome transitions, it was on one of the Zooms. Now there's no like visual of Rob doing it, but he verbally kind of breaks down the process. I can't remember if that was week 4 or week 5. I think it was week 4 of the last session, but if you search it, it'll pop up for sure.
Yeah, I think week 4 was because week 4 is the transitions week.
Yeah.
So cool. Yeah, just remind me, you know, if I don't send it to you tonight, I'll take one tomorrow. And this way you guys can go. I should take without the trigger press, because I was thinking about it this morning. I'll look like a crazy person going like this, but it's very it is very challenging and it is fun, and you're gonna learn a lot because you're forcing yourself to process more information within that same time frame. So all right, guys. Well, if nobody else has anything, appreciate everybody being here. If you guys need anything, of course, type it in the chat, bring it on the community. We're all here for each other. And guys, I love the fact that everybody's helping everybody else. So let's continue that process. I think that's amazing. Guys, you have the best night, and we'll see you next time. Later.
Thank you, Rob.
Later.
Everybody
you
have a
very
nice
much.
night.
Have a
Take
great night.
care.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night, guys.
Good night.